Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Red Rooms, a French-Canadian psychological horror thriller by writer-director Pascal Plante, which is about two women, Kellyanne and Clementine, who are essentially serial killer groupies, and they're obsessed with this one serial killer in particular who is accused of murdering like 3 teenage women. And the idea is they are closely paying attention to the trial, which is set to prove that he killed these women. Now, the thing about the two women is that they're both different spectrums of serial killer groupie. You have Clementine, who is emotionally attached to the serial killer to an uncomfortable degree, and is convinced that it's all a sham, that he was framed and that he's actually a sweetheart, and that one day maybe she'll get with him. Like, that's a subtext.
Yeah. She's like Manson girling him.
Absolutely. And then you have Kellyanne, whose interest in the serial killer is left a mystery for most of the movie. And to be completely honest, I don't think the ending actually answers it very well.
No, I don't think it was. Like, that's actually like one of the things that, like, this is a movie like we kind of disagree on as far as whether we liked it or not. I liked it up until the very end because the ending didn't work for me.
Yeah, we disagree on whether we like it, but I think we both agree with the core problem.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially, the movie is a character study on Kellyanne more than Clementine.
Yeah.
But the thing about Kellyanne is that it's not very clear why she does most of what she does.
Yeah.
You have to, as an audience member, intimate it. And sometimes she does something so contradictory, you'll have spent the whole movie thinking you figured her out, only for the movie to upend that. And then you're left like going, wait, hold on. What was her motivation?
Yeah. Like that was my primary problem, which is that at the end, I'm like, what was she after?
Now, we'll talk about specifically what happened in the spoiler section, but I will say, for most of the movie, I thought that Kellyanne was one of those serial killer groupies who was obsessed with the serial killer because they did believe that they killed those women, and they like that, and they get off on that. By the end of the movie, given the way she acts in the last act, I can only come to the conclusion that it's not actually that. She's an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
And she kind of gets off on the spectacle of it all, and she gets off on taking great risks, and part of those great risks includes something like supporting a serial killer. But I'm not entirely sure that's what I'm supposed to think.
And that's what actually bothered me. Like, that's what actually made me go like, I don't think I like this movie.
Which I get that. You know? I get that. Other movies of this type, which I would put this in a category of movies like, say, Maniac or
Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Those movies are very clear about what those characters' motivations are by the end of the movie. This movie leaves that so intentionally vague that you're not sure how to interpret 90% of the movie.
And as a result, you're not sure how you should feel about it.
Yeah. The one thing I do know is that even though I'm not entirely sure if I'm right about my interpretation of the movie, I do know the whole affair is creepy as fuck. And the impressive thing about it is that it creates this incredibly creepy, unsettling atmosphere, but doesn't show you anything.
Yeah.
Just them like watching tapes of the murders.
Yeah,
but
and
like
you're watching them watch them rather than seeing it yourself.
It reminded me a lot of like 8mm, that Nicolas Cage movie where you don't really see the snuff film for most of the movie. You just see Nicolas Cage and other people's reactions to the snuff film.
Yeah.
The performances are great. I like the way this movie is shot. There's a really impressive like 15-minute sequence at the beginning of the movie where there's no cuts.
There's this nice long take, and the thing that is impressive about it is, like a good long take, it keeps changing focus.
Yeah, like it's setting up the courtroom dynamics of the movie, because 90% of this movie is them going home, they have conversations about what happened that day, and then they go to the courtroom the next day, and we see the next stage of the courtroom case.
Yes.
The movie opens up with this long sequence of like the opening statements, but it's filmed in one long take, and the camera's just moving around the courtroom showing us various characters and like their reactions and stuff. So sometimes we're following the person giving the monologue, sometimes we're panning over to someone and seeing their reaction. So it's like, oh, we're gonna pan over here and see the mom of one of the victims' reactions.
Yeah.
We're gonna pan over here and see the reaction of the serial killer himself.
It's a good like showcase for all the actors, because like they have to sustain the scene for like a good like 10 minutes.
And they have to be on the ball even when they're not on screen.
Right.
When they have to continue their monologue and keep acting so that when the camera pans back to them, it's like nothing, no beat was skipped.
Yeah.
I wish it did a better job of like actually giving me an idea of how I'm supposed to interpret the main character, but that's...
Yes. That essentially, since it's a character study.
Yeah, it's a character study where it's left ambiguous, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
You know? I know I liked the journey, even if I didn't like the destination.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of where we are on the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I'm not sure I enjoyed the ending of the movie. Jack...
I did not like the ending of the movie. I did not
and it kind of spoiled the movie for you,
It
right?
really did. It really did. Made me very angry.
So now you have two different takes on the movie, and we'll see where you sit when you see it for yourself. The movie is currently available on various streaming platforms to rent or buy. Feel free to pick your poison and enjoy. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers so we can finally stop vaguing around the ending of the movie and talk about what actually happens.
Yeah.
So the finale of this movie centers around this climax in which Kellyanne, at this point, Clementine's already like realized that she's wrong. Kellyanne shows Clementine the murder tape.
Yeah.
And she realizes while watching the tape, oh, he did do this.
He did do this. That's him.
And there's this great like moment where she turns to the other character and is like, I'm leaving. Why are you still staying here? The other character knows the person committed the murder, but is sticking around. Why is that? And that's kind of the question that hangs around this entire movie.
Yeah.
The climax of the movie involves her trying to acquire the tape. Basically, there's a third tape that the public hasn't seen.
Yeah.
And she's trying to acquire that tape for herself. Throughout the movie, they establish that she's a bit of a gambler. So she is essentially gambling for the money she's going to use to buy the tape while there's an auction for the tape happening.
Yeah.
So it's a very intense, adrenaline-fueled scene of her trying to gamble enough money before the auction's over.
Before the auction's over, yeah.
While the number keeps going up. And I was impressed with the movie that I was actually somewhat invested in her acquiring the tape by the time this happened.
Yeah.
And I realized how fucked up that is while it was happening.
Yeah. So she gets the tape, and this is the first time that character shows any genuine emotion.
Mm-hmm. Everything she does just comes across like a performance.
Yeah.
Intentionally so. It's obvious that the character is putting on a face throughout most of the movie. She gets the tape and then has this like moment of like relaxation and relief, like someone who just like orgasmed.
Yes.
And is like drinking wine. And up to this point, I'm like, okay, confirmed. She gets off on him being a serial killer.
Yeah.
She's that kind of groupie.
Yeah.
But then she does this thing that confuses the rest of the movie for me. She takes the tape, breaks into the house of the mother, because earlier in the movie she established that she knows where she lives.
Mother of the primary victim.
Of the primary victim, the one who's on the tape that
Yeah.
she just acquired. She breaks into the house, takes pictures in the victim's room,
dressed up as the victim.
of herself, and then leaves the USB with the tape on it for the mother. And we find out later that the mother took that tape to the police and he was officially convicted based on the evidence on that tape. The movie ends with Clementine going on TV and talking about her change of heart in supporting the serial killer. But we're left wondering, wait, hold on, why did she help the mom?
And why is she dressing up as the victim? Because she dresses up like the victim and then shows up in the audience at the courtroom.
Yeah, she does that too. It causes her to lose her job at a certain point, which is why she has to gamble for all the money at the end.
Okay, so she's really trying to get the attention of this guy.
There's a point where he even like waves at her.
Yeah, he even waves
like it's
at
fucking
her.
Joker and Harley Quinn or some shit.
Yeah,
Like,
so then she takes the picture of herself in the girl's room, and your natural reaction is, oh, she's gonna send the picture of this guy.
yeah. Send the
You
picture
know?
of this guy, maybe taunt the mom or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought at first that's what she was doing with the USB, but then the USB, it's like, oh no, you put the murder tape on there, basically helped the police convict him. You're his groupie. What the fuck's going on there?
Yeah.
Talking about it with Jack, talking about it with Jack's wife, who also watched it with us.
Yeah.
And like reading the director talking about the movie for me to come to a different interpretation of the ending. And that interpretation is, oh, she's not a groupie like Clementine. She's just an adrenaline junkie. And that's why she's so obsessed with the gambling. That's why she takes those big risks dressing up like that character in the courtroom, because she knows it's going to risk her entire fucking career to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really explain to me why she's so devastated when she does lose her job at the end, though, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Wanted.
And why does she, but also, if the point was to solve the case, what was the point of dressing up like the daughter in the last act?
Yeah.
Not when she shows up in court. That I can justify.
Yeah, when she breaks into the house.
I can only
I can only assume that was like the thrill of taking the risk of doing it. Like, can I get away with this? And she does does get away with that. What I don't like about that, just on its face, is I kind of liked when the movie was a character study of serial killer groupies.
Yeah.
But then by muddling it, by making her not one, now the movie's not about that at all.
Yeah. It got very muddled and it got very weird, and I was very mad because I usually expect these kinds of movies at the end to really reveal something about that character.
Yeah, like May does.
Yeah, like May does, you know, or 1 Hour Photo.
1 Hour Photo is another good one. Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And it kind of instead left me confused.
Yeah.
I hate to sound like an idiot, but you gotta tell me what that was about.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I knew what the movie was about to the last minute, but then the last minute didn't actually tell me what it was about. It just made me wonder what it was about.
And the thing is, ending on that note with like Clementine's interview where she's like talking about why she turned around and realized that like, oh, he did it and all that stuff, just makes it feel like it is about serial killer groupies.
Yeah.
But it's not, because like Kellyanne isn't. So what's going on? I don't know.
Or is she, but she's got this weird twist on it?
Yeah.
You know, maybe like...
It's well shot, it's well acted, it's creepy as shit, and it managed to fucking unnerve me without showing me anything too graphic.
Yeah.
Which is an impressive feat. Then at the very end, it's just like, okay, well, let's just confuse everything.
So, yeah, the movie is really good until the end, then it gets really frustrating.
Yup. Let us know if your results vary. And with that said, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube, where I start streaming between the hour of 7 and 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, pretty much every weeknight.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitch. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Catholic School Outfit, because we can't think of a better hashtag at this moment. I don't know, I guess this movie just kind of used all our creativity when we were trying to interpret the ending.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're a little fried.
My little hamster and my man in the wheel in my head's a little
Absolutely.
like bump.
Exactly.
Boom.
So use that hashtag if you will, and peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.